pixels in the neon night. A dabble here, a dabble there, it feels so right. Annie's got the joystick leading the fight. Level up laughs till the morning light. Walks on Wednesdays, press start to play. It's a dabble in chaos, a game buffet. Dabble one up, don't delay. Walks on Wednesdays, it's the highlight of the day. Control yourself, no rage quitting here. With Annie's jokes, the lag disappears. Pixelated dreams, 8-bit cheer. Every Wednesday night, the fun is clear. From Mario's pipes to a portal's twist, it's a gaming galaxy you won't wanna miss. Walks on Wednesdays, press start to play. It's a dabble in chaos, a game buffet. Dabble one up, don't delay. Walks on Wednesdays, it's the highlight of the day. Coins are clinking, hearts are sinking, and it's quick wit has us thinking. A dabble dash, a power up sash, warping through worlds in a pixel flash.
Well, welcome back to the Warp Zone, Annie's weekly wrap-up, where me, Annie, wraps up what I've been up to and what I plan on getting up to. Late as usual, but hey, we're getting better at it. We're not an hour late this time, so it's mostly on me. I got up this morning, and I had some errands to run, and I decided, I can get them done before the show, and instead of getting the prep work and stuff that I was supposed to get done, I decided to go out and do real life stuff, so arguably more important, but regardless, I have made an obligation to try to do this as a weekly thing, and especially since Spurg Snake, who is here as usual. Hello, Snake.
Hello.
Since I'm taking up your time, even though you're volunteering it and agreed to it, and I know you said you're happy to be here, but regardless, am still taking up your time. So being cordial and not wasting an extra half an hour on the time that you agreed to be here on the show is important to me, because I want to be respectful, because even if it doesn't matter, you can only ride that, that's not a big deal, for so long before it's like, that is kind of annoying.
Shut up.
At least as it is how for me. So like I said, it's all because I even though it's not like a professional or whatever, I really try to carry myself in the most professional way I can. So all of that to say is, next week we're going to try to at least hit the time that the broadcast says. So cool. That's the goal for next week.
Good plan. Good plan.
Now, what I've been up to this week, I'm going to get into in just a moment, but I was just listening to Melton, I believe, from last night. Tuesdays, I'm usually behind on the broadcasts because Tuesday morning, I spend listening to Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan for the I Eel Ogiers and Audiobooks podcast, which is now over on Spurg Snake's channel. So I listen to the chapters, and then I get any other stuff I need to do before the show done, and then we do the live show now. And after that, it's usually around 3 or 4 o'clock, so I only have a little bit of time to do stuff before my friend comes over. And once he comes over, we hang out for a couple of hours. And yesterday, I thought I was going to be on Shmuel Buxman's show, but that's because of me. Shmuel gets a full pass on it. He said next Tuesday, and I ignored the next part, or I don't know what it was, but I was like, oh, okay, cool, sure, I'm free tonight. That's great, cool. I'll let you know as it gets closer to the time. And I let him know, oh, I'll be good by 10 o'clock. And he's like, did you mean tonight? And I was like, oh shit, you meant next week, man. That's on me. I'm sorry. So because of that, I spent even more time not doing anything, and missed all of Tookie Soup last night. I still got to catch up on Melton and Who Are These Broadcasters. There's a bunch of shit I missed yesterday. So something I didn't miss, though, is in Melton's show, apparently, Karmic has been scammed. That's what it seems. I haven't
Yes.
finished the whole segment, but seemingly he was scammed, and they whoever they are took his money. So, damn.
I'll wait till you finish and then ask you what your theories are.
Why don't you just like ask me now?
Well, who do you think did it?
Who? I don't know. Like I don't think it was somebody necessarily in his real life. I think it was probably like just a basic scam or something that he fell for. I mean, maybe he was drunk. Maybe he was just in the right headspace or whatever, and he just, you know.
You don't think it could have been a fellow dabbler / hackverser / shitverser, whatever you want to call this place?
I mean, I guess it's possible. It's always possible, especially if they use like a proxy and stuff like that. But no, I don't necessarily think so. I don't. Okay, if that is the case, we'll just give that credit for a moment. If that is the case, then I don't necessarily want that type of person to actually be calling themselves like a dabbler or anything like that, because that's not really what we do. You know, like it's different.
Good point.
It's still unacceptable, but it's different when you're sending cinder blocks to Perry Caravello or sending unpaid DoorDashes to John. And, you know, that's still shitty, but that's different, you know? When you straight up rob somebody.
Yeah.
Robbing somebody is... it's not trolling. It's not under the hand like bullying. It's straight up a crime. So it is over the line completely. And if it is or was a dabbler, hackverse person or whatever, I want them to not associate themselves with the hackverse anymore, because that is not what we do.
Not on that level. That's not for chatters to be doing to people who are on a show. If somebody between shows get like John suing Carl and Shuli, you know, that's
that's legal robbery, but yeah.
Right. So, you know, but yeah, I don't know if it was. Some people are also speculating it might have been Felicia herself. But most normal people are probably just thinking, yeah, he was a rube, got scammed. Or it could have legit, he swiped his card somewhere and they had a skimmer and somebody just stole a bunch of his money. He doesn't really give us the detail.
Right. So there is a couple of, that's likely, you know, but I don't know exactly where he lives, but it doesn't seem like the type of place that would get a skimmer if it's as small town as, you know,
he's in Philly or wherever Felicia
lives.
Sorry,
then that's different. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Then that's possible. If you're out in the actual real world, like you hit a 7-Eleven or something like that. Yeah. Definitely possible.
Exactly. He went to a Starbucks recently for the first time.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, it's definitely possible he got hit by a skimmer, but I actually don't know how skimmers work, so I don't want to say definitively, but as far as I know, a skimmer can't, like, as long as it's not an ATM, as far as I know, a skimmer can't just, like, go and access your save, or your other accounts besides your checking account. If it's all in your checking account, sure, whatever, I don't know, like, I'm sure you can just drain it. Or do like a transfer or something like that. But if it's in an account that has like any sort of like security on it, I would assume it'd be more difficult. Again, this is just a conjecture because I honestly have no fucking clue. I've heard of people being skimmed, but never to like huge amounts because most people are poor and they don't keep like more than 400 in their checking anyway.
I heard a statistic somewhere that like less than half the country has a $500 savings account. Like you might have a checking account with a fair amount in it, but nobody keeps a savings account. And I was kind of proud of myself before I lost my job that I did have a savings account. I was like, oh, yay. But, you know, easy come, easy go.
Yeah, so I would like to give the benefit of doubt to everyone in the Hackverse, Dabbleverse, Onionverse, because even the most trolliest of trolls aren't robbers, as far as I know. Like, you know?
Yeah, no, that's like, yeah, good point, because that is just flat out a criminal thing. Unless they duped him into transferring money from his checking to their checking, like via a conversation. Even still, that's criminal. But like,
And
that's a
even if
different
they did it as a
style
troll with full intent of giving it back to him every penny, that's still totally fucked up. Like that is over the line. I don't know where it is, but you're over there on the other side of it. I can't see you on this side of the line anymore. That's me personally, okay? If you steal money out of somebody's checking account in the Dabbleverse, you're out of here.
We got to pay attention to who starts donating a lot.
So my assumption is that he just got an email or like a text or something like that, or the more likely is, like you said, like a skimmer, and it was all just in his checking account, and wherever it was just like, oh, bloop, and just took whatever was available to him.
Also, I'd like to point out it is that time of year. This type of thing increases right near the holidays, just before and right up until Christmas Day. You can wake up with an empty account. So anybody listening, just be careful and be mindful through the holiday season.
Sam Bibley saying, how do we know Karmic X doesn't have a findom kink? Okay, now that is a very, very, very good question. I think we could assume he probably has a lot of kinks and stuff like that, because from what we heard, he likes to jerk off a lot, so much that it hurts his penis and stuff like that. So he's probably porn-brained, and if you're porn-brained, you have like, a lot of different, I would assume you have a lot of different kinks and stuff. That's how you end up with people that have like 40 different, like that's all they do is just like go on like Rule 34 and in DeviantArt and shit and just be like, oh, that's cool, that's cool, that's cool. And they just add it to their like collection, like hoarding kinks like a dragon. It's fucking weird. Don't know if Karmic's necessarily in that nest. But a findom kink wouldn't be out of the question, in my opinion. Problem is,
he was exposed to a lot of porn.
He can't get that in real life. So, if he did like have all that money from his 401k or whatever lump sum he got, he could definitely be paying like cam girls and stuff like that for a while. Just saying.
Oh, I was wondering. I was like, who was that? Oh, Jim Norton was the one who was like got married to not a cam girl necessarily, but you know what.
Annie, move over so I can see Ray, please. Oh, yeah, Ray. Yeah. I really like that I have this screen here now, because this is usually the one playing my browser. So anytime I can just hit like one of those, like drop the needle anywhere and pause them on a great screen where it's just, Ray doing that face. Anyway, Sam Bibley saying, I agree, Annie. I think Karm is porn-brained from isolation, and that his hang-up was sleeping with Felicia at the start. Yeah, probably, because, it's like statistically proven and anecdotally backed up by people like on Reddit and the nofap communities and stuff like that, that when they get with a girl finally, it's like, oh man, I can't fucking perform, or I can't last 2 seconds because overstimulation, or it's not what I, there's like that pressure and shit. Like it's gotta be awful, honestly. So that's all I really have to say about that, because I don't want to speculate on somebody else's psyche that I don't really know. Do you have anything else you want to say about that, Snake?
No, I when karma comes up though, I get talkative because I don't know. It's the same reason he got very angry when I called him the F word. I feel like he could have been my friend, and he chose otherwise. So I like the guy, but I'm not going to waste too much time on him.
That's a wise decision. From what you told me, you did try, and that's all you could do. And trying any further is at a detriment to you. So let it go.
Yes, I agree.
You can control him though. You're clearly able to get to him very well. So you're good at what you do.
Thank you. Sometimes, yes.
All right, so moving on to another one of my notes. Last night when my friend was here, we watched Edge of Tomorrow. I have apparently never seen it. I thought I did, but maybe I was confusing with a different movie. But Edge of Tomorrow is pretty interesting. A guy gets shipped off to combat, and he doesn't want to, so he tries to get out of it. So, whatever. And then he gets in combat, and during combat, he kills one of the enemies, and then ends up like in a time loop. And it's pretty simple, concept of a movie, time loop movies. This one, however, did something that I really like that not a lot of other time loop media I see. In fact, I can't even think of another one without like doing research and like diving into it. But a character in the movie previously in the movie, like we'll say like a couple months ago from when the movie is taking place, she was in a time loop and through some circumstances was able to like get out of the time loop. So she knows that they're not only possible and real, she's lived through them, experiences them, and knows what they're about. So when the main character meets up with her and she realizes, holy crap, there's no way. Is this guy in the loop? She's like, well, wake me up when you find me, or find me when you wake up, because she like is about to die. So she dies, and then he meets with her and has to convince her, like, hey, you told me to do this tomorrow. Like, I'm looping, and this character is able to provide a lot of knowledge, experience, training, and is a super valuable asset. The problem is this character is not in the loop, although they know about it. The problem is they can't transfer their knowledge from loop to loop like the main character can. So every time the main character has to decide what information is important and what's not, and what to communicate to this character so they can get through the objective. It gets to a point where he's like, I've tried every part of this, and no matter what I do at this point, this is where you die. I don't know how to get to the next part. And of course, she's stubborn and goes like, well, this is the one we're going to get through. And no, she dies. So, this is there's a lot of nitpicks in the movie, but this is particularly where I had one. I'm like, okay, you have literally infinite redos. Okay. If you really are wanting to get through this branch of the mission, you're going to have to brute force it. There's X amount of enemies. Just go kill those X amount of enemies. Like, start the helicopter, which is what they do, and then the enemies start attacking. Start the helicopter, turn off the helicopter, so you already lured them, kill all the enemies, then get in the helicopter and fly away. In the future part of the movie, we see the main character do that. Like, he goes around and kills all the enemies before starting the helicopter, starts the helicopter and flies away successfully. I'm like, why didn't you just bring her with and do that with her? You would have been able to kill all these people more easily because you had the girl who's super good at combat, knows what you're doing, and you can help. She could have helped so much. And then when you go to the next part where you're flying the helicopter to, you would have had backup. So, it just seems really stupid for a guy that has infinite redos to be like, this is an unpassable objective. Okay, so use your infinite redos to find a passable version of this. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you have an infinite loop. You can do it as many times as you like. And like you said, it's reality. So you could literally do it in any avenue you could think of. I can try it this way. I don't remember the movie exactly, but do they necessarily need to use that specific helicopter? No, because but when they got to the farm, their plan was to siphon fuel from the helicopter and put it in their van that ran out of fuel. So go back to that plan. That part pissed me off because everything up until then, it was like, oh yeah, this is a really cool, it makes sense. You're abusing your time loop. You're getting like perfect. You're like, you're save scumming combat, so nothing can touch you. You're like on God mode, right? Except for this one part now, because what? You're too horny to figure out a way to pass this part? I don't get it. It's stupid. And the rest of the movie was fine, other than that one part where he's like, I can't do it. No. Okay. Anyway, moving on. I really did like that part of the movie because that character was previously in the loop and is aware of the loop, but not currently in it. And I think that is a really nice,
plot device in a time loop type media, because in other medias you have somebody that's in the loop and they can experience it with you, so it's like you kind of have like a partner, so they, you never really lose that aspect. So I like this kind of twist in it. I don't normally like review movies and stuff like that, so maybe I can start doing that here, because like I'll have just watched it last night, so maybe that could be a part of the segment I bring in. Something to think about.
Yeah, nice movie review. Good idea. Make a note of it.
So last night or actually Monday night, I finished finally Callisto Protocol, which is what I'm going to be reviewing tonight on What's This Game. I gotta figure out which ways to point for this shit. You can see my poster right there, and it's the logo's also I don't care. Doesn't matter. I don't have the reverse camera. Most people say reverse your camera because then you can like point in the right direction, but I don't like that because I like to be able to read my own text and stuff on screen and see how the audience is seeing it, because then I actually have like a one-to-one preview. Anyway.
I was sorry, I was looking at the screen. Use your left hand to point up and to the left, and you'll be pointing at the round logo in your layout. Yes, right there. There you go. That's the logo's right there on the
it's over here.
Right there. Now you're touching it. Yeah. Yep. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I will start remembering. Like I've only broadcasted a couple of times. Like actually broadcasted. Playing a game is different because I don't need to point at anything. I don't need to do like any interactivity. So I'm still getting used to where things are in my layout. Like right here is the cactus. Way over there is the Dragonology book and the Vampire book. So it's taking a little bit getting used to point to things in my background. So Callisto Protocol is what I'm covering tonight, and so it was made by the director, or it was made by one of the main head people of Dead Space. Now, that does not mean that that's like the guy that did everything in Dead Space, because that was Visceral Studio, and that's a whole studio. So there's a lot of different people doing a lot of different things, the art director, So one of the guys from Dead Space made a Dead Space, like, spiritual successor. And I'm really curious whether the guy who worked on it played Dead Space, or if he just like wrote it and made it, because what makes Dead Space so good is the constant feeling of being confined, and one mistake can ruin your run. But having the ability to absolutely crush your opponents with like firepower and stuff if you hoard enough ammo and stuff like that. There's plenty of gun diversity. It's a lot more about planning and executing correctly, whereas in Callisto Protocol, you start the game and you get a baton, and that's all you do. Like the whole game is just beat people with melee. And Dead Space has some melee, and it works well in the way that it works. But when the entire game is just, I'm just a regular guy and I am just absolutely beating the shit out of zombies, it takes away like any stake, especially since you like can perfect dodge away from like almost every enemy in the game. So your guy is just an untouchable berserker if you're good at the game. And for me, it's just like, the atmosphere is cool, but the actual gameplay is so ass that I'm not enjoying it. I'll get more into it tonight, but my big gripe on it is it's so fucking repetitive, whereas Dead Space is not. The most repetitive part of Dead Space is like having to rip enemies' arms off and shoot them at themselves and stomping them after death, which Callisto also has. I don't know why if you're beating enemies with melee, you don't already beat their loot out of them, but it has the same mechanic in Dead Space where you kill the enemy and then you have to make sure you step on the corpse if you want to loot them. And then you have to hit the loot button. So, like I said, I'll get into a lot more of these issues tonight on What's This Game with Mondays Weekly. My tablet is out of battery, so I gotta look on this screen now for my notes. But now that I'm done with loop button, Sorry, mommy asked a question in the chat. Annie, can you do a cartwheel? Yes. Well, maybe not anymore. I'm pretty sure I could do one. I would probably get hurt. Like I still have the muscle memory, and I know how to do one. A great story from my childhood is I went to the what is it? Mount Rushmore, and as you go like up to Mount Rushmore, there's like this descending sort of like concrete path up to it, like an area. And I remember as a kid, just because impulse control, ADHD, hyperactivity, and just wanting to show off, a bunch of combinations of things. I'm just like, I'm going to do a cartwheel. And then I did 1 and then 2 and then 3 and did like not as a child, I don't know, like probably like under 11. And it's not like we were climbing the mountain and stuff like that. So we were like at the touristy area where you like, just walk around and take pictures and stuff like that. We didn't do anything in depth at it, but I don't know what age it was, but it's definitely under like 11 years old. So I would call that a child. And yeah, I did, I don't know how many cartwheels down this pathway until I got so dizzy that I started to fall over, and tried my best to dismount it in a interesting way, but fell down on my ass because after you do 10, 15, 20 cartwheels, your equilibrium's fucked up. So I used to be very acrobatic before I got fat. So I have the muscle memory. I know how to do it and stuff, but it doesn't necessarily mean I could do it without like training and stretching and getting into more shape. So short answer is yes, but probably not. Mondays says, you don't have to rip and stomp them. It's a choice. And Dead Space gives you much more variety on how to deal with enemies. Echo Pineapple saying, I wish I could do a cartwheel. Well, that requires arms and legs. And no offense, buddy, but anyway, after completing Callisto Protocol, Undertale is something I've also been playing because I'm going to do not the next one, but the next after. What's this game? Covering Undertale with Snake. Very interesting indie game. It's like an RPG with like minigame bullet hell mechanics. There's a lot more to it. And I insist that at least 2 playthroughs happen because the first playthrough is like, because of story reasons, it doesn't matter. And the second playthrough is like the real playthrough. So, if you do 1 playthrough, it's fine. You'll get the gist of the game, but you won't get the full story. So, and you won't even get the full story with only 2 playthroughs. There's so much to it.
Yeah, so far it's funny. And I like reading and stories and things like that. I'm always about the story for the most part. And I know that's a lull. That's a trick. Oh, this is going to go great. Aha, we're on an adventure. So far it's been, spaghetti jokes and this one character. And then there's Undyne that I have yet to meet myself. But it wasn't really spoiled so much for me. But like I know a couple things like that. Like I know there's mechanics to the game that there's multiple endings, and there's a lot of hidden stuff, which you showed me, like not just alternate ways to do things, but literally like little hidden rooms, and there was that switch, and so I got to keep my eyes peeled while I play too.
Yeah, it's a really interesting game that like you probably could find all of the stuff by yourself. But it's like, it was really a community experience when it came out, where everybody's like, oh, what if you do this? Okay, what about this? What about this? Okay, so what if you do the playthrough and this happens, but you don't do this? So everybody was trying to like find the secrets, and it's a race to it. Now, of course, you have data miners and stuff who are just like, boop, 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 boop. All right, so I found the exact conditions needed to do this, so just go do this, and then this will happen. And that kind of ruins it for some people, but if you're only one that like cares about experiencing it, then cool. Then you just have these people that just tell you, hey, if you edit your computer to change the date to this specific time, you can go to this one room and it'll happen with this certain event that normally only happens like once a year, but you can trick it with the computer code if you play it like offline. It's like cool, I guess.
Yeah.
If I only want to experience it, great, I can go to experience it, or I can just watch a YouTube video. Whatever.
But
those are the people that like ruin it because if you like, that was intended to be found organically.
Yeah, like when you play a game on Christmas or Halloween or something like that, and then an achievement pops up. Oh, you played for. There's specific game stuff, but like that specific kind of thing where you're jumping time, like Seaman on the Dreamcast or Pokemon or anything like that, where you would jump forward in time to get something to happen, but then have to go back. They like some of them. It would break the game, but I remember that like time skipping was like. That's almost cheating in my opinion. Yeah, it makes it no fun, like Mommy says. There's a couple of games where you can just do that, where you can just go, like Fable. Fable's a good example, where you can go and like open up a property, and you can set the rent, and then you can be like, it's this much a year, and then you can go log out, and then you can go change your system to be like 90 years in the future, and then you log in and be like, hey, you have 90 years of rent to collect. I wish
Cool.
that worked in real life.
Right, I'm gonna fast travel to the future and take that check from my future self. Is that cool? Anyway, moving on to the next topic. We are going to play Dead Space next, after Callisto Protocol. That's the next What's This Game, and that's the next game that I'm going to be playing upcoming this week. I have it scheduled for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So hopefully I can get one whole playthrough done, because I only need one. But I'm going to be doing it on Zealot difficulty, which is the hardest difficulty. So I'm going to put myself to the challenge on it, because I've done the original Dead Space, the Dead Space remake, and Dead Space 3 on the hardest, but I don't think I've done 2. Maybe I did once, but I can't remember. I've played it so many times, it's hard to remember. Especially since I used to play it on the 360.
I'm not I like what, like I said when you were playing Callisto, I'd rather watch you play. That Dead Space, Dark Souls, Demon Souls, I'll watch somebody play. I can't. The game, it I don't know how to explain it, but it sometimes just starts, especially Callisto definitely showed this off, but it becomes like a rhythm game.
That's exactly what it was. It was just like left, right, left. Okay, smack, 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 gun strike, run, strike, 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 dodge, strike. Okay, he's dead. It's just, and then it's just like, okay, now that was all it took for, now just repeat that 100 times, and I cleared this area.
Yes,
so yeah,
that you described it perfectly.
It's much more fun to watch, because it's like, okay, cool. Like, they're fighting like 5 enemies, so I can like look away. I don't even have to watch this part, because it's not fun for me. It's not fun for the person playing. So who even cares?
Mommy just asked the question, basically. Yep, I would say you can just follow along watching. There's not it's not super grindy like an RPG, so you're not watching somebody just go through gameplay loops. It's watching somebody play a story, and it is more interesting, because then you can kind of chill and relax and watch it. So I do recommend, if you like gory, scary stuff, Dead Space 2 is a fun game.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend you stick around for the Dead Space 2 playthrough if you want to, Mommy. And then you could, if you're like want to ask questions, it gives me plenty of time to talk about the game, because I know a lot about the story, what's going on outside of the room that I'm in. I can explain to you why I'm where I'm at and what's going on. So especially with games that I'm really like knowledgeable about, absolutely stick around. And if you don't know anything, you don't need to know anything. Just ask whatever you want, or just enjoy the pretty colors. But Dead Space 2 is in my list of, like, favorites. So it's going to be exciting going from a shitty Dead Space knockoff to the prime rib of Dead Space. I've never played the DLC for Dead Space 2. mostly because for the longest time it wasn't on PC. You could only play it on console. They never ported the DLC for a long time. But it should be available now. Otherwise, I'll just watch a video like I did with Callisto. Speaking of which, if Mondays is still here, I wish I didn't watch that. I wish I didn't watch that DLC, I'll tell you that. As far as what's going on for coming up, after those games I mentioned, and sort of right now, I'm starting another game with Snake. I know I got a lot of balls in the air, but we're going to be doing Grounded. We kind of started it. We might restart it, but my plan is to create a OBS layout here where you can see both of our screens. If you were here a long time ago, during Fortnite, maybe 1 or 2 streams, I had a layout where you could see what I was doing on my screen and my camera, as well as Snake's camera and what he was doing on his screen. So I'm going to try to remake that because in Grounded, it's a co-op game where you explore and walk around and stuff. And if we are not together in the same area, then it would be cool to be able to see what each of each other are doing. And thank you for answering that question. Mommy asked, what is DLC? It's downloadable content. And that is more of a blanket term. There's all sorts of DLC. There's skin packs, there's loot boxes. It's basically anything that you download or install or buy or get to upgrade or supplement your game after buying it for the first time. Sometimes you can buy DLC with the game, which is something a lot of companies do now, where they will complete the game and then they'll take out parts of it and then they will sell it on the side as literal side meals. And you can choose to buy those side meals or not. Sometimes they do have story content that add on to the end of the game, and that's really shitty. Callisto Protocol just did that. The DLC takes place after the end of the game and is seemingly real. It's not like a fake thing where you're playing in a simulation. So it's really annoying. Because if you didn't buy it, which I didn't, you don't get to experience the actual end of the game. So it's stupid. Kind like hooking up a car. Well, not really. Okay, it would be so you bought your car, you paid it off, you own it completely, and then the car manufacturer is like, hey, by the way, if you want the real wheels for the car, the ones that actually allow you to drive 75 miles an hour and faster, you're going to need to buy this $20 upgrade, and then your car will be allowed to drive at the real speed it's allowed to. Now, the car still totally works. It works just fine without that upgrade. But if you want the full speed of your car, you're going to need the $20 wheel upgrade.
Excellent analogy. Yeah, that unlocking extra stuff for past the base car. Yep. Full speed. Oh, you want heated seats? Guess what?
Some of it is way worse than others. That one I just mentioned is literal extra content. You're paying $20 for more of your car. Now, sometimes you could pay $10 for a different paint on your car. That doesn't do anything. It doesn't make your car better or anything. You don't get any discounts or super cool features. You don't get any perks or anything. You just get a different paint. And that's what a lot of DLC is just cosmetic shit. Where you can just get a new skin, you get a little dangly for your character, a new cape. It's just a bunch of ways for the developers to milk extra money from you. A lot of it is done really shitty. Some DLC is done really, really well. There's a lot of examples of DLC being done good. I will always promote The Ballad of Gay Tony for Grand Theft Auto 4 as one of the best DLCs of all time. The Ballad of Gay Tony came out after the game was launched. Came out a year, maybe even later than that. And they said, hey, remember during the main game, this one little side character that you meet 2 times? Do you want to play as that character and learn his story? Sure. So buy this $20 is what it was. Buy this $20 DLC. and you get a whole new campaign as a new character. We're going to add new guns, new vehicles, new radio stations, new mini games, and all of these features you can bring online as long as you're playing the Ballad of Gay Tony version of the game. You can play with everyone that has parachutes and the exploding shotgun and all this stuff just for $20. And it doesn't matter if you don't have it, because you can still play the regular game and play with people that have it. You just don't get to experience that content. It is
and later on,
by far
like
one
you
of the
said,
best
they
DLCs
packaged it.
ever.
Yep. I got Grand Theft Auto 4, the Ballad of Gay Tony, and Liberty City something. I can't remember, but there was like 2 extra DLCs with it. It was really nice.
Yeah, there was one that was like a biker gang DLC and something else. I never played the other one. Ballad of the Lost or something like that. I don't remember what it was. Not Ballad. I don't know. Whatever. Somebody will know. But it doesn't matter because that's old and not what I'm playing currently. We're going to be getting into Grounded. And Grounded, just a quick description of what it is. It's basically Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and then survive in the backyard against bugs and stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Killed by a spider.
Yeah, the spiders are absurdly violent at the beginning of the game. Like, imagine you were shrunk smaller than a spider. That spider is going to kill you until you have a very, very sharp mini knife. So that's what's scheduled for the upcoming games. I got a couple different things on the side. I have Red Dead, Cube, some Evil Within to mix it up. Upcoming later in the month, I'm going to do another Pokemon stream. So that's just all upcoming stuff. You can check out all of this on my website. You can see the URL right here. It's insanneity.com. Should be in the link in the description as well. The only part left I have to update on it is on the streaming page. You can see my full schedule, and I'm going to have the next 7 days, like after Warp Zone, I'm going to put up the schedule of the next 7 streams. So you can go check out those streams. You can go like hit the notification on it or whatever. If I get negative feedback from people being like, hey, I don't like how you just have like 7 upcoming videos, but I'm not going to do it like every day. So it'll only come out like in a batch. It'll be like on Wednesday, it'll be 7 upcoming videos, and they'll only go live as they go live. So we'll see how it works out. That's currently the plan. Otherwise, I have a fallback option where I'm going to just list them as where they're going to be, and only the most recent will be updated as a sort of like permanent link where you click it and it'll take you to the live streaming tab on my YouTube page, and then you can just click the video there. But that's extra steps. So like I said, we'll see. We'll see which one works better. I think that's pretty much all I had to cover today. It's more of a shorter one, which is fine. Is there anything you wanted to talk about, Snake?
I do have a question. Since it is a shorter one and we can just kind of shoot the shit. Like, I know how, like, you explained that, you know, how you got onto WATP before.
Mm-hmm.
But how did you even come about, like, the Dabbleverse? Did you know about Opie and Anthony or Stern or any of that? Or did you just, like, run into WATP in the wild? Or, I think you mentioned you watched one podcast that led you to another, maybe? But I don't remember, if you don't mind, like, telling me. And for everybody else who's watching that might want to know.
So there is a huge famous YouTuber. I can screen share. Which one am I in though? I'm gonna have to click here. It's gonna be weird, but I can do it. Share screen, entire screen, screen 5. Bam. Okay. So this guy, Penguin Z0, also known on other platforms as Moist Critical, and his name is Charlie. So everybody mostly, if you know Charlie, you just call him Charlie, because Penguin Z0 is a stupid name, and so is Moist Critical. But he's more commonly known as Moist Critical, despite the fact that his YouTube page is called Penguin Z0. Anyway, this guy super huge commentary guy. He plays games. He does a bunch of variety stuff. He commentates on stuff. He does like live reactions. He does reviews. He does tier lists. He is like the definition of like a variety streamer, YouTuber kind of guy. And I fell into him a couple years ago and ended up watching most of his back catalog and was watching his like daily uploads and started even when he did 2 uploads a day. And I was still like, man, I really just like this guy and I want more of it. And turns out that he has a podcast, which he no longer actually is on. So it is the official channel. There's multiple podcasts on this channel. The main one being the official podcast. The official podcast was started by Charlie and his friend Jackson, and then he also wanted a couple other friends. So Charlie had his real life friend Andrew and his internet friend Kaya. So all of them together started the official podcast, and it's unofficially named the Jack Off Podcast because it's Jackson, Andrew, Charlie, Kaya. So it's the Jack Off Podcast. But anyway, that's not a very promotable name or whatever. So they went with the official podcast because they were jokingly going with the official Minecraft podcast, and they were going with to change it like every week. But you know, whatever. So it's the official podcast, and fast forward 100, maybe 130 episodes, and I'm like caught up with the show, and I'm like, damn, okay, so I'm now caught up with this, and I still want some more. So I paid for their bonus content. Watched all their bonus content up until the point where Kaya had on Carl from WATP. Kaya was apparently a fan of Who Are These Podcasts. I don't know if he found Who Are These Podcasts or Who's Right First. I don't know exactly where Kaya found Carl, but Kaya brought Carl onto the show, and it was a bonus episode because the content of what Carl was doing and talking about and stuff isn't necessarily like mainstream. Oh, sorry. Annie, my love, do you have an opinion on the trailer on the new game Mixtape?
My bad.
I've not heard of it.
I didn't mean to do that.
Am I stuck into 90s, or does that look like a masterpiece? I will check it out at the end of the stream. If somebody wants to post the link in the chat, that'd be, well, I guess only Snake can. So Snake, if you want to find what he's talking about, that'd be great. And yes, Spurg Snake is my producer on this. Thank you for stopping by, Husey. So back to the story. Kaya had Carl on, but it wasn't mainstream enough, so he kind of got like relegated to a bonus episode. Now, fortunately, I was paying for the bonus episode, so I was able to see it. And then a couple episodes later, Kaya also brought on Dick Masterson to talk about his lawsuit against Maddox. Maddox lost. And all of that came to a head where I was like, okay, so I like podcasting. I've listened to all of this podcast that I like. I need to listen to more. So I started listening to more YouTubers that I liked, and I kind of like caught up on all of their crap too. And I was just needing more of an outlet. And I didn't want to just like go to a podcast player and look up podcast about blank, podcast this, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, wait, I remembered that this guy, Carl, has a podcast about podcasts. So I'm going to go check out his channel. And I believe the first episode I listened to was 100, because I think that's a good entry point to anyone that's been going that long. I think 100 is a good one because 100 is usually a big milestone episode. They maybe do like a best of, depending on whatever. I think 100 is a good entry point if you have no clue where to enter with somebody's podcast, especially if they have way more than 100 episodes. Like you could start at the beginning, but maybe it, they didn't really grow into their personality until episode 70. What I'm saying is I started at 100, and then after listening to episode 100, I just went up and down the list of what was currently available and listened to anybody that I'd ever heard of. So I had heard of like the Rizzuto Show, which is a St. Louis radio show. I heard of like Adam Carolla. I had heard of Opie, which I don't know Opie, but like I had like through dating apps and stuff, I was like putting that I like podcasts, and people were asking me like, do you like Opie and Anthony? I was like, I've never heard of it. I don't know. So I'd heard of it ancillarily before I came into Who Are These Podcasts. But in that list, I was like, Opie and Anthony, or the Opie radio show. And I was like, oh, I've heard of Opie. I don't know who Opie is. I listened to that, listened to a bunch more. And then once I got familiar with the show format, the hosts, and all of that, I started from the beginning and just started listening sequentially through all the episodes, while simultaneously listening to the new episodes coming out. So I was like approaching it from both ends of the spear. I was getting closer to the end while constantly catching up or keeping current. So eventually they squished together and I met somewhere in the middle. And of course, with the same as the other shows, I was like, I like this show. I want the bonus content. So I started paying for all the bonus content, listened to all the bonus episodes, and the exact same thing happened with the Dick Show. I fell into it at the same time. I was listening to Carl. I was listening to Dick. I was listening to new episodes of Dick, new episodes of Carl, old episodes of Dick, old episodes of Carl. Because I just wanted something with a huge backlog of people that I like and stuff like that. And I liked that Dick's just like mean and facetious, but he's funny. And I like that Carl is poignant and analytical. And they have two vastly different shows, but they have a very similar approach to comedy and stuff like that, where it's like, we're just saying words. If you're getting offended, maybe you're a faggot. So I listened to all their content and started getting into the Discord, because I'm a very big Discord person. If you really want to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me on Twitter or whatever, but Discord is straight up where I'll reply to you like instantly and stuff like that. So I huge Discord, and I started getting into the Who Are These Podcast Discord, and I mostly got into it because in that Discord there is a Seamus Watch channel which covers Patrick Michael, and Patrick Michael is unironically my favorite thing that has ever happened on Who Are These Podcasts. Despite that I don't like Patrick Michael personally, I don't like him, I love Patrick Michael as a like creator. He is so fascinating. He is so intriguing. He is so entertaining to me because he is so outside of like every schism. He is so fucking bizarre, and that's why I like him. And I still like him, and I still follow him, and I still have like eyes on most of his stuff. And if you're watching this, Patrick, hi, I still do like you. You're just kind of a dickhead. I don't know why you turned on me. Fuck you. Anyway, I was getting in with Patrick Michael because I was a genuine super fan of him, and I was talking to him, and eventually, just through being persistent, he modded me on his YouTube channel, which I never did anything. He didn't tell me who to ban, what was the rules, nothing like that. So he unmodded me eventually, because I didn't do anything. Anyway, I was talking shit on the Discord because the current review girl at the time, Hannah, was going like in and out, personal life stuff, doing whatever, and was barely on the show. So I would occasionally just like poke fun at her in the Discord and being like, oh, she's not coming to another episode, surprising, whatever, just light banter shit. And I don't remember exactly how it happened in what order, but both the user Pre, and Japanese Fart Enthusiast were like, well, why don't you do it? So I put my money where my mouth is. Japanese Fart Enthusiast. Yeah, it's fantastic. Yes. Shout out if you're listening. Probably not. I don't think he follows like smaller stuff, but I don't know. Maybe he does. They both suggested that I put my money where my mouth is, and I wrote like an introduction, told Carl who I am, and basically this whole story that I just told, being like, hey, this is how I found you, and this is why I'm such a big fan of it. And, I would like to be the new review girl, even though I'm not. So, be fun. And Carl was like, let's do it. I assume you have thick skin, right? And I said, maybe. We're going to find out.
We'll see.
I don't know if I do, but it turns out I guess I do. So
you do. You've seen the rest of the people that we watch. They can't handle anything.
Yeah, no, you have to be able to laugh at yourself first before you can laugh at other people.
Yes, that's the golden rule.
I'm a fat tranny with fucked up teeth who is a shut-in video game obsessive nerd.
Yeah, and guess what? Guess who's your best friend? He's 15 years older than you.
So, I'm very self-aware of who I am, and if people want to make fun of me, I'm like, damn, all right, you actually got a good one in there because you're right about that. Like, if people make fun of my fucking list because of the stupid fucked up tooth up here, I totally get it. I do talk fucked up, and it sounds like I have mush mouth most of the time because I do. I'm trying not to knock my own tooth out.
That's with me. Yeah, that's why I'm constantly worried about that. And same. Like I'm like a shut in, basically. So I'm a hermit and hang out online. And I'm glad that I got a gaming friend now. Like I didn't play like co-op games like that, especially online with people. So. It's been a lot of fun,
and I'm definitely glad to have you because every time we play, it's a great time both playing the game and just chatting about and stuff. Probably tonight after what's this game? I'm gonna make the new Grounded layout so we can play it upcoming. Maybe in the mornings if you're up early enough before work. We'll see.
Yeah.
The only F mommy says, I can't stand when they come in with cheap shots, though. That's what gets me crazy. Can you maybe define what a cheap shot is, in your opinion? Like, I guess some things are kind of lame. Like, what I maybe think is a cheap shot is like making fun of somebody for being poor. It's like, I mean, if you pretend like you're a millionaire and you're poor, that's fine. Make fun of that. But actually being poor, I mean, that's not funny. I'm poor. Maybe so. I guess that maybe that's a cheap shot. Making fun of my poorness. I don't know. Calling a fat girl fat? No, that's just being accurate. Okay. Look. If you're fat, you're fat. It's fine to be fat, I know I have to lose weight, LOL, she says. Yeah, exactly. So just if you know that and you're aware of it, then just be like, no shit, it's not a cheap shot. You're pouring a little drop onto a huge bathtub full of I know.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Just respond with that. I know.
You're correct. You are absolutely correct. And like it does suck. And, if it is something you're self-conscious about, it can be really like a thorn in your side. But you can either struggle against it or try to make that thorn more comfortable.
You can always change how you look. You can't fix stupid.
She said I was being silly. I agree. I was making fun of hardships. Well... Moving on then. I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover today. You have any more questions about that Dabbleverse intro, or is that pretty much cover it?
No, I was just curious, and like, I was wondering, it was so like...
Oh, somebody did ask.
The official Oh, go ahead.
But you love Howard, right? Never listened to Howard either. The only radio shows I listened to growing up, like talk shows, radio hosts, and stuff like that, was a local radio station here, Cashapp 94.7. It's been going on for like 50, 60 years here in the area. And I used to listen to it to go to sleep at night and in the morning early. So I would hear, in the morning, I would hear Bob and Tom, which isn't from the area, but they're like syndicated in this market. So I would hear Bob and Tom. I would hear the local-ish radio show during the day. There was a couple different hosts. And the big one being the Rizzuto show, which is on a different channel, but I still would hear that. And then at night was still just more like Cashapp stuff. So it was more like local DJs, and then the big syndicated one was like Bob and Tom. So honestly, that's the only one that I'm really familiar with. Driving to work and like college and stuff, I would listen to Elvis Duran in the morning show, and occasionally Charlemagne and the God, Charlemagne the God, whatever. I don't know. Fuck
Charlemagne the God. Yes.
I would listen to those occasionally because they were just on stations that I listened to, so they would just be on in the morning anyway. But I wouldn't really say I'm familiar with most of those people, and they are, especially Elvis Duran, it's like the definition of a morning zoo. I liked Bob and Tom a little bit more because they were like older talk show kind of guys, and I did like that, but it was still silly nonsense and bits and stuff and all of that. So for the most part, I didn't listen to radio stuff. No, Howard? Girl, you got to catch up. You're like 40 years behind. Okay, the big problem is the official way to watch Howard is impossible. All of it's been gimped, cut, repackaged, edited, whatever. And the second problem is I don't think I want all of that in my algorithm on YouTube constantly, because I do like my algorithm, and I don't constantly just want like who's the Hank the Angry Drunken Dwarf. I don't want that guy in my algorithm. Okay?
If you want to watch anything Howard, like, yeah, you can find some good clips from day one. I would recommend watching some of the Howard TV stuff, because that's like, it's not the whole radio show, but it's like bits of that you would be able to consume of what Howard Stern was like and get the idea.
And here's my third and final pushback against it. I don't feel like looking it up. If somebody served it to me, I'd be like, well, sure, I'll add this to my list of stuff to watch, and I'll watch it when I don't feel like it or whatever. But I'm not going to go look up and search for the right and a good version of what I'm looking for, because I don't know what I'm looking for. So, I guess all of that is to say, it's like, hey, there's this really, really cool mountain over here, and there's a bunch of really cool places on the mountain. You don't even have to go to the top. It's like, okay, so where do I start? Well, at the bottom. You realize the bottom is everywhere, right? Like, which face do I go up? Like, so it's just because it's a huge amount to approach that I haven't ever. Same kind of with Opie and Anthony. Never encountered them. Still haven't really watched most of their stuff. I watched some stuff that Rochi has sent me. Shout out Rochi. So, occasionally that I've watched some Florentine, I've watched some Jim Norton, because of stuff that Rochi sent me. So, I guess if you want me to watch this, Mommy, hit me up on Twitter or Discord. Send me this shit. Take it in your own hand.
Oh, there you go.
All right. We hit the over the hour mark, so I think this is a good place to wrap up. Spurksnake, go ahead and plug.
Well, real quick, thank you, Mandy Diff, for the follow here on Annie's channel, and at Spurksnake. I think Mandy already follows me over there, so that's good. Mondays, you want to follow me, you already know, at Spurksnake on YouTube and Twitter, and that's about it, really.
Mondays Weekly saying the best O&A clip is when Louis C.K. explains the origin of the N-word. All right, well, I'll trust you, and unless you send me that link, that's where it's going to end. And speaking of ending, if you want to check me out, you can just go to insanneity.com. It's already linked in the chat and in the description. So tonight, check out this channel and also What's This Game channel to check out Callisto Protocol with Mondays. So thanks for joining. Until then, we'll see you next time. Shout out Gummy Chainsaw.